Good morning. Good morning, everybody. You're live for Coffee Chat. Somehow the event was trying to publish as tomorrow, but as we know, Coffee Chat is on Saturday morning at 8:30. Roz! Hello! How are you? We'll give everybody time to catch up with the fact that we are online and live, and it is Saturday, not Sunday. So tomorrow's Mother's Day. I hope you're all going to do something nice for yourself. I hope you're going to celebrate yourselves and not wait for other people to celebrate you. I learned that a long time ago. You have to learn to celebrate yourself. All right, we're going to start recording our podcast audio. Good morning, everybody. Welcome into Coffee Chat. If you are new, welcome. We do this every morning. See why I need the coffee? We do this every Saturday morning at 8:30 a.m. And we call it the Coffee Chat Show. Good morning, Irene, Jody, Casalina, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you? Happy Mother's Day to everyone. Roz is saying yes, I second that. So, two quick things today. One, the kid turned 20 on Thursday. So that's the marking point of 2 decades of making it and being a single mom. Hi, Peggy. Hi, Letty. Good morning. So Tracy and I were talking actually earlier this week. Good morning, Priscilla, Samantha. Hi, everybody. We were talking about how we sometimes forget, how far we've come and where we came from. And I think it's really important on Mother's Day that you guys all kind of just take a moment and look at how far you've come. Good morning, Janet. When Antonio was little, he's too little. When I wrote on my personal Facebook for his birthday, good morning, Lori. Hello, Leah. And good morning, Jody. I mentioned that he was too little to remember how poor we were. And, as far as he knows, we always just had enough of everything that we needed. And we did have enough of what we needed. We were really poor. I had really nothing when he was first born. And I lived in a house that was not very nice and had furniture that was kind of, broken down and icky. And I used to go to, you guys remember Kmart? I don't know if there's still Kmarts around. I know there's one in New Hampshire. I went to Kmart and I got, those cotton blankets, the thin ones, and I would put it over the, the ripped sofa so that you couldn't see it. And, it looked nice from, 20 feet away. No, I mean, it looked okay, and it was comfortable and it was all right. And it was, it was the best that I could do. And I had a press board cabinet that the TV was on, and the TV was, rather small. And he had lots of toys and everything. And all of his clothes were hand-me-downs those first few years from some really amazing friends that I had that had a lot more money than I did and had amazing taste in clothes. So he was always dressed impeccably in his little overalls and, t-shirts and everything. And so I used to make the pillows. We had, throw pillows for the sofa, right? And then I would go and get fabric that I liked. And I had a sewing machine. And so I would cover, I'd make new covers for the pillows. And then I would change those maybe every season or, a couple times a year. So it gave a fresh look to the living room. And it didn't really cost me anything except the price of fabric. And in the kitchen of this house that I rented, there was, they had carpeted the kitchen. It was an old house. They had carpeted the kitchen, and the kitchen carpet was like there was something on there that made it sticky. And so when you walked on it, it was always sticky. So I had to go get like a remnant, again, Kmart. Kmart was like a big thing. And, I would get a like a 8x12 or whatever it is. And then I would cut it in with a carpet knife so that it fit, perfectly. So then you could walk on the kitchen floor. And the cabinet in the kitchen like had suffered water damage, and the landlord was a friend of my now ex-husband's, and so he was giving us a really good deal. And it was a nice size house. It was just older, and he was kind of in the process of fixing it up, right? So the kitchen cabinet, like if you were standing at the kitchen sink and you tried to like open a drawer or something that was in that, in the cabinet front where the sink is, the whole thing would pull away because it was all water damaged. And the bathroom was like, the old blue bathrooms from like the 50s, like that kind of like robin's egg blue. Like the whole bathroom was like that. And then the carpet that went, in the living room and down the hall and everything. The bedrooms were hardwood floors, thank God. But the carpet in the living room and stuff was that shag. Remember that shag orange carpet? Oh my goodness. So, I cleaned everything, and it was all, it was immaculate as it could be. And, I did the best that I could with it. And as far as Antonio knows, I see pictures from back then. I'm like, wow. Okay. And so it just reminds me. So, when he turned 20, I wouldn't properly like embarrass him, right? Without, posting. So I posted like 20 pictures he was not happy with me, by the way. And in each of those pictures was, pictures of, we've had 3 houses. The first one I rented, the second one was a condo that I rented, and then I purchased a home 6 years ago now. It'll be 6 years on May 21st that I purchased this house. And when I started out, I had nothing. And so that first house was really rough. The second condo that we lived in for 12 years was like extravagant compared to the house that we came from. And then this house was extravagant compared to the condo. So I've gone up, and I've worked the principles that I share with you guys all the time. And that's how I know they work, is because I actually worked them. And when he was just a baby, I filed bankruptcy. And when I say I had nothing, I mean it. I had nothing. I had this Toyota Corolla car with, that had like low miles on it. A friend sold it to me after they repossessed my new Chrysler Cirrus that I had bought. So the bankruptcy stemmed from, those of you that have followed me for a long time, some of these stories, but there's a lot of new people that are always popping into coffee chat. So when Tracy and I were talking this week, I said that I would share some of this stuff with you guys on coffee chat this morning. So my grandfather, before I was even pregnant with Antonio, before Antonio was born, my grandfather, who was like my dad really, got cancer, and we brought him home to take care of him. And so I quit my jobs to help my grandmother. And prior to that, I had been a human resources person in a fairly decent sized place. And so I was making, back then, I was like 29, I was making really good money. So, and I didn't really know anything about credit cards and how you should handle that, because my mom was not a good teacher for that. And I didn't listen to my grandparents or my grandfather when he tried to school me in like how to be a financially responsible person. So I had a lot of store credit cards, and I was always buying stuff, and I had no problem, right? I had no problem paying the stuff, so I was making good money. Then my grandfather got sick, and I left my jobs, and I took like a part-time job, and so you know, and then I had been married to Antonio's father. We were estranged. We got back together when my grandfather got sick. And then I got pregnant with Antonio on purpose. I decided that, you know, I was going to either shit or get off the pot, so to speak, have a kid with this guy or not. So I decided to, because I thought that that was what I was supposed to do. And I don't regret that decision. We didn't stay married very long after that. Anyway, long story short is my husband had filed his own personal bankruptcy. He had decided that that was a good idea. And so when, like, he would have just had to go get a second job just to meet my minimum payments while I was kind of navigating, you know, Antonio being a baby and all that. And his solution, he thought my best solution was to file bankruptcy. My grandfather had just died. I was an emotional disaster. I was basically just a disaster. I'm just going to be quite honest with you. And so I filed bankruptcy because I didn't know what else to do. And I wish, you know, in hindsight, if I had known then what I know now, first of all, I never would have gotten in that position. Second of all, I would have known what to do. And it's whatever, right? So I cried all the way to bankruptcy court. I sat there and I felt like the lowest human being on the planet. Like, when you look around bankruptcy court, there's a lot of different stories in there. And I just felt so gross and so ashamed and so like, oh, I can't even. And, you know, you have to go. And then when I got out of there, you know, they came and they repossessed my car and I had to watch them like take my pretty car away and, you know, all of that. And in that span of time, I just made a decision that, you know, that was enough. And I was going to start really practicing the principles that my mother had been teaching me since I was 12. And I was gonna go into it and I was gonna do it. And I was not gonna put the kid in a position where this would be our life. Like, I didn't want that to be our life. And, and so then I steadily, you know, went up from there to here. And I did it by obviously working my ass off, which I still do because I don't know how to do anything else. And I use the principles and the affirmations and all the tools that I'm teaching you. And so that's how I know that they work, right? Because I practiced them and I did it. And so when he turned 20, and I want to encourage you guys to do this too, wherever you are, like, just stop for a minute, turn around, look backwards, and acknowledge how far you've come. Acknowledge how far you've gotten. And have gratitude for how far you've moved ahead and all of the different things that you're navigating. And have grace for yourself, right? I wrote on our description of today's coffee chat, I think being a single mom for sure, mothering and parenting in general is a lot like, you know, Navy SEAL training, but single mom stuff is really like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Navy SEAL training. You watch what those guys go through, but it's brutal. And, you know, being a single mom is like that because when we moved to Tennessee, I didn't have anybody. And, you know, I had no family around me or anything. And any of the help that I got, I hired. And, of course, I couldn't do that right away because I was still, like, progressing and doing, you know, doing better. And trying to get myself to be unbroken emotionally and all, you know, because, like, you have all the shit that you have from growing up and whatever, and then then you have a kid, and then you're like, all right, I better get my shit together because I don't want, like, the dysfunctional train to run this kid over, right? I want to get off this thing. It's part of the reason why I moved to Tennessee. I moved away from everybody in my family because the crazy was going to stop with me. The crazy train was just going to stop right here. And it did. And, you know, it took a while. And I would say, you know, probably in the last 4 or 5 years, there's another Noelle. And she says, I think I failed my first year in college. I feel like a failure. Okay. So thank your mind for sharing. You are not a failure. You are trying. You are doing your best. It is hard to go back to school. It is equally hard to do anything when you have children, when you are a single mom. It's hard. It's really, 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 really hard, and there's no way out of it but through. You know, it's kind of like when you're pregnant and you got to get the baby out. And I remember when I was having Antonio and I was laying there and, you know, it just effing came to me that there was no way out of this. Like, I had to get the kid out. There was no other way. And I went through 30 hours of labor. It was brutal. I went through 30 hours of labor. I would like have a contraction. I would puke in a bucket. It was awful, 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 awful. And I remember laying there thinking like, oh, fuck, there's no way out of this. I think that's the first time I've sworn on one of these. But I really was like, there's no way out of this except to do it. And, you know, there ensued the rest of the 20 years, right? Because there's no... Once you start down that road, there's no way out. You got to do it. If you don't feel good, if you're sick, if you feel shitty, you got to get up. You got to get the kid food. You got to get them to school or preschool or get them to the nanny or the daycare. And you've got to work and you've got to pay the bills. And there's no calling in sick. There's no I don't feel like it. There's no I don't want to. There's none of that, man. You just have to keep rolling. And if you're lucky enough, you have a spouse, you know, an ex-husband or a partner or somebody that is joining you in parenting, and you're lucky enough to, or parents that will take the kid or whatever, you know, give you a breather or a break. And I just didn't have that. I didn't have family, and down there, and that was my choice. So for the 12 years that we lived down there, you know, I was on my own. Like I said, unless I hired help, and I couldn't afford to do that until I had been there for a few years. So that's the first part of my conversation with you for this morning, is take a moment and really appreciate where you have been and what you have accomplished and how hard you are working. And stop judging and evaluating yourself on your progress. You will, when your kid turns 20 or 18 or whatever the case may be, you're going to stop, you're going to turn around, you're going to think 2 or 3 things. One of which is, shit, this kid was just 5 and now they're 18, 20, whatever it is. And 2, you're going to be like, wow, we made it. We did it. I got it done. And then you're going to think 3, now what? What do I do now? Like, what, you know, really, like, this is kind of set, and I know you never stop being a parent, but, like, really, what do you want? What do you want to do? What is your life about? The second thing I wanted to hit on this morning is you get to decide in your life where the ending goes. You get to decide where the period goes in the sentence on relationships that you have. It's come to my attention, well, it's always been in my knowledge base that some relationships are seasonal and some are lifetime relationships. And sometimes a season lasts a short period of time, and sometimes it will last a long time. And we're always going to, you know, probably do something that hurts somebody. I mean, that's not, you know, we don't do it on purpose, right? Like, something occurs in your history with someone, you get upset about it, you vent to some people, you talk behind their back, you do what you shouldn't be doing, it comes back to you, you know. If you're smart like me, you know, you just apologize and you say that, you know, you made a mistake and you should have just brought your grievances to the person directly. And, you know, what can you do? When you do something that hurts someone else, all you can do is apologize, right? All you can do is do better next time. All you can do is try to stress the fact that, you know, whatever you did or said, you didn't do on purpose to hurt that person. you did it because it was the best that you could do at the moment, or you were venting, or you were so broken yourself that you really didn't recognize what you were doing. All of those things. So when you make an error in a relationship with a person, your job is to be responsible for your part and apologize. Now, whether or not you continue a relationship with a person or a job or whatever the case may be, that's up to you. There are people in your life that will take your energy gladly, will make themselves feel better by being in your presence, or you're always the one inviting or asking or all of that. And I've been schooled in that over the last 5, 6, 7 years. Hard schooling in that. There's been a lot of people that I've poured a lot into that I thought, were lifetime folks, and they just disappeared. I've been stunned sometimes by the lack of, care from other folks. I have been amazingly surprised by other folks that have extended themselves to me and gone way out of their way for me, and showed up for me no matter what. Tracy, who's on here, is one of those people. Kim, who helps with the site, is another one of those people. There are people that check on me and go way out of their way for me, and I pour into those people as well. My point is that in your lifetime, you're going to pour into a lot of people. I would encourage you to really look at who pours back into you. And I feel like that a relationship is life-giving to you when you have a conversation with a person and then you get off and you feel like enlivened and you feel good and you feel spirited. And then there's other people that you have conversations with and you get off the phone and you just feel like exhausted or tired, or like somebody just threw up all over you, or negative and sad. So start paying attention to how you feel when you're around in situations and around people. Energy workers use the term energy vampire, which is like someone that steals your energy. And, this can be family, this can be friends, this could be anything or anybody that's in your life. And as you get older, you will recognize that it matters where you're putting your energy. It matters what you're pouring into. And if you want to test a relationship, just be quiet for a while. Don't call. Don't text. Don't do anything. See what happens. See if those people reach out to you and check on you, or if everything just goes quiet. And, if everything goes quiet, then you'll know that your energy is the only thing that's keeping it alive. And then you'll have to ask yourself if that's worth it to you. Again, could be a romantic relationship, can be a family relationship, can be a work relationship, can be a friendship. Not everyone is a lifetime person. And probably the hardest thing that you'll ever have to do in your lifetime is to let people go that you really love, that just are not moving forward. Either they're not moving forward in their lives, or they're not helping you to move forward in yours. A really good relationship, friendship, anything is, when iron sharpens iron, when you're each pushing each other. And you might not be pushing each other at the same time, but you're pushing each other. Drienne, and I hope I'm saying that right, she says they are a lesson or a blessing. And yes, exactly. If you do not let these things go, you will not be able to move ahead to all the good that's available to you. And we were talking last week about, how I told you the coffee chat kind of works in cycles, right? So we start at the bottom, we kind of go through the principles, and, then we start again. And so we are in this place where we're ready to start again. And we've been talking the past few weeks about you taking care of yourself and making sure that you're doing things for yourself. And Kristen is saying that when her husband passed away, she thought that there were people that she thought would be there for her, and then there were people that showed up that she never imagined would, and that's how it goes. There was a car accident a few years ago where a tractor truck and trailer jumped the lane and hit me head on, and that showed me so much about the people that were surrounding me. There were people that showed up for me, and there were people that didn't. And by the grace of God, I walked away from that. I had some whiplash and some other stuff, and obviously, the car was totaled, and it left me like hanging over a ravine and all this crazy stuff. It was something. When people show you who they are, pay attention. And don't dismiss it, because it shows up. And then sometimes we ignore it. Someone else, Lois, is saying when her mom passed away, that same thing happened to her. People, some people showed up and some people didn't show up. When my mother died almost a year ago now, there were a few people that showed up at my house a few hours afterwards. And that told me everything I needed to know, right? Because there were a bunch of people that didn't. Yeah. So I think it was it Maya Angelou that said, when people show you who they are, pay attention. Something like that. That is the most poignant piece of advice that I could give you if I was going to give you advice. You get to say, Leah is saying they always show you, but you either acknowledge it or ignore it, and sometimes you're not in a place to accept it. Yes, absolutely. She's absolutely right. It always makes itself shown to you. And to Leah's point, sometimes we're not ready to see. However, just keep checking in with yourself. Sometimes Peggy Whitstock, oh my goodness, I haven't seen her on here in ages. She is one of our followers, one of my faves. Good morning, Peggy. Happy Mother's Day. Keep doing an evaluation, right? Princella says when people show you who they are, believe them the first time. Yes, I think that's part of that whole same thing. So keep checking. Sometimes there's forgiveness work that needs to be done in some of these things, and we're not ready to do it, or we're not ready to see it, and we can't fully release it until we see it. Sometimes we're carrying bitterness and everything, and we've got to be able to let that go too, because of course we can't really release something until we're really complete with it. And they don't have to be complete with it, by the way. You do. They don't have to forgive you. You do. You have to forgive you. And you have to forgive them. And you're not forgiving them for them. You're forgiving them for you. There will be a handful of people that you can count on in your lifetime. If you're lucky, they will be lifers, and they will walk with you through the whole shebang. There will always be people that will show up for you. There might not be a lot of them. They'll be there. Sadly, the number is usually small. I am blessed enough to have a few people. Tracy, who's on here, navigating and commenting and watching, she helps with the lives just to keep away the creepers and block people that might be trying to spam the live. Tracy and I have been friends. I think I was 16, and she's a few years older than me, so she was a little bit older than that. And we have been friends for, I'm going to be 53. That's a long time. And we have seen each other through a lot of stuff. And Tracy and I, we're the people that show up no matter what. Like I said, if you're blessed enough, you will have, some people in your life that do that. Shelby Woo, I haven't seen you in a long time either. Good morning. So here's the thing. Couple of things for this coming week. One, acknowledge how far you've come. Just give yourself credit and really be grateful for everything that you've accomplished. And don't beat yourself up for the stuff that you feel like you haven't accomplished. All right? 2, start doing an inventory of who's in your life, what's happening there, whether or not it's giving you life or taking life away from you energetically, whether or not it's something that you want to keep pouring into. The truth is, you don't owe anybody anything, all right? You don't owe anybody anything. You really don't. The only people that you have a responsibility to are your kids. Good morning, Jude. I have my espresso in my Jude Berry teacup. This is my girlfriend Jude. She's a big tea drinker, and I got these teacups just so I could drink my espresso out of them and channel Jude when I do so. Good morning, Buffy. Okay, so do an inventory of who's in your life, what's in your life. Is it taking life from you? Is it giving life to you? Is it taking your energy away? And, I had a situation this week where I have a long history with a person. There were some hurtful, some hurts. When those hurts were perpetrated, I was angry, upset. I vented to a couple of people. I know better. I shouldn't have done it. I talked about this person behind their back. I am not perfect. In fact, I am so imperfect. This person, these other people, share this information, which is fine. And this person came back to me, I think could have handled it better. I would have rather have just been confronted on a call. This was a series of texts. I immediately, admitted my culpability. I said, yes, I said some things. And yes, I was hurt. And yes, I shouldn't have behaved that way. I should have come right to you with my grievances. And I didn't. And I wasn't doing it to hurt you. I was doing it from a place of being hurt. So word to the wise, really think about when you're speaking things, because lots of times we speak out of anger or hurt or whatever, and we might be speaking to someone else and, they'll share the story and then people end up getting hurt. And, I don't think any one of us really sets out to harm someone, but sometimes when we're broken or we're hurting, we will hurt people. So there ensued a big back and forth, and I just kept apologizing because I couldn't have been more wrong. That's all I got. And that's what I said. It's like, hey kid, I couldn't have been more wrong. I did what I did, and I hurt you and I know better and I acted inappropriately and that's all I've got. And, I did point out, that I was surprised that after my X amount of history with this person, they wouldn't have just picked up the phone and said, Noelle, WTF, this, what's going on? Because that's how I would have done it. And I recognize, though, that, I'm done with that conversation now. I'm over it. I'm done with it. And it's over for me. And there's nothing more that I want to say about it. And that's when I really started thinking about, sometimes things come to a natural end. There's a period, there's a dot at the end of the sentence for a reason. It's time for that to stop. Or a chapter in a book ends for a reason, or a book ends for a reason. So I would just really encourage you to do that personal inventory and see what serves you and what doesn't, and what you're pouring into and what you want to keep pouring into and what's giving back to you. So I won't keep you guys for much longer. It's already been our half hour. I want to wish you all a very happy Mother's Day. I want to let you know that we are starting to move some of the top Facebook Lives over to YouTube, and so you'll be able to now find the videos on YouTube, and then every Saturday morning as we complete them, they will get moved. They will still stay on Facebook. They will also move over to YouTube because they're easier to share, and sometimes you can access them on YouTube from different places. We also do record everything as audio, and that is our podcast, which I'm going to say goodbye to our podcast folks here. And visit theworkingsinglemom.com. Check out all the free stuff we offer. Click the link in About Us on the Facebook page. That will take you to a bunch of different things that we have, ways that you can participate with us. We're not trying to sell you anything. I do all this for free out of the kindness of my heart because I just want to try to help people. I actually have a communications consulting company. I'm very busy. I make a living doing that. And I do all the working single mom stuff to just try to help. I've been through a lot of shit in my 53 years, and if I can even help one or two people to have a better life, then I've done my job. So, Leah, you're looking for the YouTube. So if you go to theworkingsinglemom.com, you guys, just click the YouTube link. All the social media links are on the workingsinglemom.com page. Also, if you click the link on the Facebook page in About Us, there should be a link there that will take you to all of our other social media sites, wherever you want to go. All right, so have a great day, and we will see you next Saturday. And happy Mother's Day, you guys. Really, celebrate yourselves tomorrow. Don't wait. By the way, don't wait for someone else to celebrate you. Celebrate yourself. Go buy yourself flowers, buy yourself jewelry, take yourself to dinner, lunch, whatever. It's great if other people celebrate you, but don't wait and then be sad when they don't. Celebrate everything and celebrate yourselves. All right, take care.